All right. This week in conspiracy news, a big one. Loads and loads of things are being questioned. Questions are being asked about all sorts of stuff by all kinds of people. Anomaly with a zero in his name instead of an O. Comedian Owen Benjamin. Even Steph Curry, the NBA guy, is involved. We got, oh no, everything's on the table. Everything's on the table. Flat Earth, JFK Jr., the moon landing, chemtrails, everything. It's huge, big week. But first, I do want to give a shout out to my sponsor. Today's show is being sponsored by none other than the Mayhem mobile office. If you're an on the go kind of person, then this might be the perfect thing for you. So, you can see here that the Mayhem mobile office is very different than the mobile offices that you're used to. In the year 2018, Mayhem has revolutionized the mobile office industry by taking the big giant desk just out of the equation. So if you ever have had the unfortunate experience of having to carry around a big giant desk everywhere you go, contact Mayhem. You can find Mayhem2222 on Instagram. I'm sure he'd be happy to share more pictures of him using his box to hold his laptop while he works. So, you know, just a reminder about a scientific study that actually shows that if you carry around a big giant desk everywhere you go, you're going to be more tired. Now, more tired equals less efficient. Less efficient equals not as good at doing business. Not as good at doing business means you lose money. So invest wisely. If you're a businessman, you already know that wise investments are necessary in everyday life and especially in business. Mayhem! Okay, now let's get into the nitty gritty. Um, First off, we're going to talk about the moon landings. So this all started up when Steph Curry of the NBA was in an interview with some other people. Well, I'll just read what it says. It says, he interrupted the conversation by saying, "We ever been to the moon?" The group, including Atlanta Hawks player Vince Carter and Kent Bazemore and Curry's teammate Andre Iguodala, concluded with the unanimous nope. "They're going to come get us," Curry added. "Sorry, I don't want to start conspiracies." Now, this is how it started out. He was ridiculed and he ended up apologizing. But that's not where we conclude. If you're not familiar with Owen Benjamin, he's a comedian. He's pretty funny actually. He's popular on social media. He just wrapped up a tour, but he did a video on a live feed, I think, live stream on the moon landing being faked. He gave a bunch of reasons why he thought that it was faked. So what did he say? He mentioned that the footprints didn't match. He mentioned the Van Allen radiation belt that surrounds Earth, which is honestly that's why the Soviets never made it to the moon because they never found a way to make it through the radiation belt. And he does mention that you can't send a live video stream like 200,000 plus miles from the moon to Earth. So yeah, he made this little live stream, but then he doubled down on social media, on Facebook and on Instagram. He's just like, yeah, man, I'm not backing down. And then he went on to record like three more. Even today, I think he recorded his last one. I think he's kind of fucking finally over it. But but it's actually a really funny song. He gets pretty passionate at times, and yeah, it's a good watch. Maybe what I find most fascinating about it is how people just turned on him. Suddenly, they're hating on him hardcore. And I want to say it's just because he has a difference of opinion, but he was kind of hostile about it too. But it turned into like a heated Not even a debate. It was like name calling. But like I said, it's worth a watch. Lots of fun. Next up, I want to briefly mention a video by An0moly. That's An0moly. Another good YouTuber or vlogger, as the youth are saying. He saw something in the sky that made him feel uneasy, and he goes into detail about it. Is it condensation, or is it something more sinister? Next up, we have something that I found pretty awesome and sort of is what made me decide to really make this video. QAnon, another conspiracy theory that you may or may not be familiar with. I'll give a little bit of a sort of like background introduction type thing if you're not familiar, in case you're familiar and not familiar. Q is somebody who posted on 4chan claiming to be a White House sort of insider, sort of giving cryptic messages about President Donald J. Trump's war on the deep state, or the deep state's war against him. Um, all along, like he's been dropping these little hints about the Clinton Foundation and Obama and George Soros and all sorts of shady figures within the government. But what I found really interesting is this week he had a Q&A, a random Q&A, and in that Q&A, he gave, I say he, but who knows, but he or she or they gave their input on two other conspiracy theories. One of them, flat Earth. We're all familiar with that. The idea that Earth is not a sphere, but it's in fact flat. He says the Earth isn't flat. Which, all right, well, that's his opinion. And then another thing he said, somebody asked if JFK is alive. Now, this is an interesting one because many people have said maybe JFK Jr. is Q. Yeah, that would be cool. It's a really interesting story. But Q says that JFK Jr. is not alive. Unfortunately, nobody. It's not good when anybody's dead, for any reason. So that made me sad. While we are on the topic of Q, you may or may not have noticed that the Clinton Foundation and Comey, the old FBI director, are back in the news, and they're both under heavy scrutiny. The Clinton Foundation had some whistleblowers in court. I believe two separate cases that I'm familiar with this week where people came into court to testify against about the Clinton Foundation, tax evasion, and all sorts of illegal activity. Comey has been in court twice. There have been two hearings. And Judicial Watch has gotten has opened a new trial against Hillary Clinton for her email server. So all this has happened in the last week or so too. So regardless of whether or not QAnon is real or is inside the White House, people are excited because the things that he has been saying, and will continue to say have been happening, sort of. But he leaves these cryptic messages. It's always interesting to watch these videos on YouTube and form your own opinion. Thanks a lot for watching and listening, and I hope that you watch again. See you later, alligator.